On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, new Lotto, new happenings, and all kinds of stuff going on in JP. There was an update to Type Lumina. I don't know if any of you were expecting that sick new Melty Blood beats being FGO related. Also, Last Encore BD standard and OST release in 2022? Question mark? Gone wrong? Actually, I don't know if it's gone wrong, but something might have gone wrong because it took a while to do the thing. Anyway, hi, welcome to Let's Talk FGO. I am one of your hosts. I am Omega, and I am no longer sick. With me, as always, Lucky. He's always down with the sickness.
Everyone, I hope everyone is enjoying Paint Grand Order. That was redundant of me. I need to work on that. AKA, the training arc begins, and while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for the JP and EM versions of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should give thanks to the patron scene of boxing.
Alrighty. So we've got another high-speed, low-drag show for you today. Probably not too bulky. There's lots of rapid-fire news to get through, and there is a new event to discuss, though obviously with the power of time gates, it'll take us a little bit to get there. But before we get into that, I would like to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Adam DeHarp, Argonaut 10, Flex to G, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Just the Fae, John Sandoval, Legendary Boss Hunter, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robyn, Trevor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob, Sorry, 23, and Varian the Crow. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon and get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies. It really helps us out. There are some periods in that sound wave, which is where that first pause, by the way, and that was, because I realized I didn't have the Audacity window up, and I got deeply paranoid that the audio waves were not waving. They are. They're fine. But in that last bit, there are sections of the audio wave where there are literally no gaps. This is relevant to a conversation that is happening now with the patrons, actually. Literal no-gap sound waves. Anyway, thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
I will shuck that tab. Okay, alrighty. So, we do have a few things of our normal show biz to get out. A few things to do. But we should probably start with our usual and check in with everybody's favorite kohai, Mesh.
Senpai! Senpai! 起きてください!
So, it is indeed time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai Register for Road Tips. Yeah, seconds. I'm fine. So, this is a follow-up from last week. Funny story, everybody. Remember how we mentioned about the rolling 100 at once? So, the Karna Lotto is weird, and wasn't necessarily made with this in mind. I believe the do 100 rolls after you clear the grand prize is a feature that is newer than the original run of this event, because this event's, 2 years old. So, you can't actually do it until the 20th, because after the 20th, I should specify, because boxes 11 through 20 contain additional black presents for story progression, because you need a certain number of black presents to continue the main story quests. So, yeah, I did see several people in Discord confused about I cleared the first 10, why can't I do it now? Because apparently this event was weird and they decided to do it that way. I don't know why they decided to make it so you couldn't just speedball the non-grand prize ones for the black presents, but here we are. So yeah. And I don't think that was predicted or clarified. It was not clear in the file drop about it. Very obvious. Usually they bold this stuff, and it was a little unusual. We were all slightly bamboozled. A bit. You can take this as
I haven't got that far through. I'm not actually that far through the event yet.
No, I'm not super deep in the boxes either. Neither are, I think, a lot of people. We'll talk about this more in detail, but as usual, the very best nodes for lotto farming don't come until later, but because of the black presents, you do need to farm a little bit to actually do the main story quests. I don't ask me how many C's I have. I'm probably that. Yeah. Nervous laughter. Chuckle, I'm in danger. But I definitely feel like I've heard a couple of people in our community kind of mumble grumbling about the black present issue, because you gotta get in there and actually do these to get through. So it's not too hard, but it does suck you out a little bit, and it kind of forces you to farm suboptimally. I'll talk about what I'm currently doing to farm right now later, because I have just smooth branded it, but I'm pretty sure that in a way that the game didn't want me to smooth brand it. So we're going. Right. I'm not literally nowhere, because I do have to, complete the event a little bit to do story, but I have definitely had to stop and farm to do main story quests, which is not usually what we do. And I assume why I don't believe this mechanic comes back in any future lottos. They don't really do the special thing to get it back. I do believe, if I understood summaries from the JP version of this, that the Black presence will come back to get you extra rewards in a positive way, but it's definitely a little bit of an obstacle. It's a little bit of a cock block right now, which is very on point, but also slightly annoying. Anyway, speaking of what we're doing in the event, though, let's go ahead and talk about our usual bee's knees. Let's do Records from the Throne, a regular achievement topic. I have gotten far enough in the boxes with just my minimal attempts at farming for these first couple days to protect Temporary Carnage Smile. He is level 80.
Sick.
Fully breezed through my ascension mats there, and so I'm ready whenever he becomes a real boy.
Alright, so on Lucky End over here. So whoever betted on Lucky rolling, but not getting, but not spending any money, you may go collect your winnings from the betting pool, because I did throw down for Vitra. Well, I can't say I actually threw down. I haven't actually spent any money. But I spent what I had in my pockets.
You pushed the roll button.
I did, but no, none of that. I did walk away, though, with an MP5 punch save, which is pretty sick in my opinion, actually.
It's alright.
It's not the outcome I wanted, but MP5 Martha, it's like, no, that's some powerful fist.
What was your punch save status previously? Do you recall?
MP3.
Okay.
I got both those. I got 3 Ruler Marthas. I got 2 of them in one spin. I was like, no, this is destiny. I also got something else. I can't remember what it was.
I
believe
assume
it was
you got
already
a decent
MP5.
collection of CEs.
Yes, I'm on the fence right now because I'm at that weird, like, I'm not, like I said, I want Vitra, I really do. I saw some of her sprites, I'm like, oh my god, she has a lipping sprite. This speaks to my soul.
And having doing the Wanted, she's the kind of unit that both of us really like.
Yeah, so, but, like, I do know she's permanent, and knowing my rolling habits, I know I will get her eventually.
Yeah.
But
permanent solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's rough because she's got really good sprites.
Yeah. But the thing that's killing me the most right now is I have 4 copies of the 5-star CE.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just all like, this is where my temptation is right now. I'm just all like, because I'm good on the 3-star and the 4-star, but I just need one more 5-star CE to get to max limit to MLB. Then I'm just like, I want that. I really want that.
There are at least a couple. I mean, there's some extra Saint Courts, but there should be a couple opportunities where the event is still have to get tickets. But yeah, that's a little.
No, well, I guess I'm not going to spend right now.
No, you got some time. I might do my usual end of story, like 10 spin as well. I usually do that for events just to celebrate, but
yeah,
there's some stuff. Is it actually next anniversary? Does that go to Vitra? I thought it stopped at Odysseus. That does go as far as Vitra, that's pretty cool. But
if it does, but that means I have to pick between Vitra and Odysseus, and that's another battle. I'm like, oh, she's not in there?
Yeah, I'm getting the reports that is not as far. I was pretty sure that stopped at Odysseus.
Yeah.
I hope it stops at Odysseus. If it doesn't stop at Odysseus, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Tama was an easy pick. I don't think I have any more permanents I'm worried about.
Oh, God, wait, no. If that means it also means Nemo. Well, if it goes up to Vitra, that means Nemo in there, and that is another big oof.
Yeah, that's very painful.
Yes.
The ticket is permanent, but it does cut off after a certain point. I just don't remember what the banner it cuts off. The first one cut off at Europa, I think. Oh, did they include the second ticket to include Storylock? That's also pretty good. I probably have some Storylock SSRs I haven't gotten that I can get out. I can finally get Lancer Artoria regular. Having had to go so far as to roll in a thunderstorm for Lancer Artoria Alter previously. And not on the same banner where she had a Tesla. That was probably my problem the first time. Damn it. But alright, we're discussing rolls. I think we're basically already in Not All the World's Even, but damn close. Okay. So, I spent 17 tickets. No Vitra. No 5-star CE. Got NP7 Beowulf. My Beowulf was already NP5.
Cool.
Did a 10 spin for Spite. Got a min roll. I cry every time. It was pretty bad. It's always a huge defeat when you get the min roll. So, just... I think it's like 3 now because I also got a weekly ticket in there. I might hit my second free one depending on how long this event goes. If I can summon a second or third summon ticket in there, because there's one in the event that I haven't cashed in on yet. But yeah, it's we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll spend singles. I don't know, just for the extra one. But yeah, no, it was a rough time, and there's nothing more disheartening than spinning it up, getting some stuff. At first, I was excited about the Beowulfs, and then, like I said, I went to my NP Ascension, and I'm like, why isn't my Beowulf here? Where'd he go? What's wrong with him? Then I open up my servants, and I'm like, oh, I see the problem. He is already NP5. Well, I guess I get some rare prisms. But, yeah, just sucks it up. Well, I'll get them later. I'm super behind on my Mana Prism CEs. So, because I'm not really good at farming Mana Prisms in an orderly fashion. I just kind of slowly accrue them. But yeah, that's my story. Lucky kind of already alluded to what his note was here, but I don't know if you want to repeat it.
I'm not going to repeat it verbatim, but like I said, I spent everything I had on hand on that, and it's not a huge amount in the grand scheme of things, but it was still 180 Saint Cords and 30 tickets.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did walk away with, I believe it was 3 Willa Marthas and another SR, and a fair amount of tickets, but, man, I'm just like,
Yeah, it's rough. Like I said, I obviously, like I said, I might do my usual, post-game 10 spin, which has worked for me sometimes. That is how I did get, Himiko. That worked out for me. We'll see how it works for Vritra. Because I have not really intensely gone for stockpiling for Muramasa yet. I still have, free quests I can do and, reasonable goals in the interlude and rank up space I can hit and shit like that. So, not to mention however much St. Quartz we get shoveled on because it's New Year's anyway, right? So, we can afford to go that far, but probably not any further than maybe another 10 spin or 2 on the current one and just suck it up. Okay, yeah, so the next SSR ticket is Story Locks as well. Okay. Well, that makes that pretty easy for me. Because, personally, chat, I would recommend the Story Locked ones because those are harder to get. Maybe this upcoming year in JP, they'll announce another ticket, and that'll actually include other newer servants that used to be new back when they ran the tickets, but are no longer new because it's been 2 goddamn years. Help a brother out. But yeah, so there we are. That's our rules and everything. Alright, that means it's time for our next segment. Did you finish your Master missions? Yes. Spoiler. Yes, you did. If you're playing the event, you did it. Because you need to defeat 10 servants, then 15 servants. Get 50 each. These are all 3 separate Master missions. I'm just going to list them all at once. Get 3 each of the 3 currencies, Cool Gum, Saint Bars, Holy Bananas. Yes, it is indeed Cool Gum, Saint Bars, and Holy Bananas if you haven't been paying attention. And then the 6th one is put a saber in your party and complete a quest 5 times. Gee, I wonder why you would do that one. So, this is totally do the event, and you've got it. So, there's all kinds of fun things to work out on there. There you go, there's your frags. Hopefully we have another fun bunch of easy Master missions next week. More frags. Oakley dokley. Well, going for 15 minutes. It's time for some news. For some seasonal Skelegrams. Ho, ho, ho. You didn't know I can do Santa Claus and Skeletor at the same time, chat.
I'm just thinking, does Skeletor celebrate Christmas?
It's gonna be something weird, like he's actually Jewish or something. Not as a value judgment, but just as a weird aside.
I'm gonna ask.
Happy Hanukkah. Yeah. I could totally see Skeletor rocking the Santa hat, though. Chat, do you think Skeletor gets cold? Do you think he's cold with his bones? What the fuck?
He's a bone face. What the fuck?
No, Patreon chat. Just like that. Christmas Skeletor. What the fuck?
It exists?
Well, okay, that solves that question. Anyway. Okay, actual news. NJP, going in chronological order. Melty Blood, Type Lumina, Ushi Wakamaru and Edmund Dante's commemorative campaign started the 12th, ends the 19th. So Dante's and Ushi are in Melty Blood right now. I believe it was a free update, free character DLC.
I do know that some people are weirdly nettled about this.
Yes, so some members of the more Tsukihime Melty Blood side are a little nettled because these are now the 3rd and 4th Fate characters to be introduced to Melty Blood, and due to timeline shenaniganery and Type Lumina being kind of integrated into the remake of Tsukihime type timeline, there are some classic Melty Blood characters who aren't in yet, like Sion, which it does give some people who've been long-standing fans of the franchise a little bit of the sadness, because, some of those what you would probably normally consider core characters to Melty Blood aren't in yet, but we're getting more Fate characters. But I also think it's not necessarily reasonable to expect those updates if those characters are supposed to come after the events of Tsukihime, because Nasu's not done with the remake. He's only halfway done-ish, kinda. Obviously, I feel their pain, and so on. But I think it's all right. I'm kind of surprised Ushi was picked, as people in our Patreon chat are talking about right now. Dante's has a reason to be in. He is connected to the character of Roa, who is in Tsukihime and Melty Blood, so, it makes sense for him to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Ushi and Takeuchi's art style is just kind of out of nowhere. I don't know. I guess she's really popular. Not that I would doubt that, but still, it's a little surprising.
I mean, I stand Ushiwaka as much as as much as the next fan, but she would not be the first one I would expect out of in Tsukihime.
No, I definitely think a lot of people would have thought more of the demon hunters, like even Raiko.
Yeah.
So
Kintoki!
Yeah.
Put Kintoki in Melty Blood, do it!
Kintoki and Melty Blood would be pretty rad. So much gold. A lot of stuff in there. But yeah, so obviously with most of these other events where crossover characters have happened, there's also a crossover event in FGO, which we might get some of this in NA. Probably not all of it, but some of it we could get. Basically, log in for 3 days total to get a trio of commemorative CEs, one of which is actually for MASH, because I don't think she got a tie-in CE that was directly her. And then the others are Ushi and Dantes. Damn, who's fucking Skeletor, ugly Christmas sweater. I like it. I usually just wear a hoodie on Christmas. Oh yeah, they did technically have to, because you do a lot of acrobatic things in the fighting game, they did have to actually, quote-unquote, censor Ushi a little by giving her a bodysuit, because she's very naked normally. It's okay, it's a Genji tradition.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just funny.
Mm-hmm. I still like my OG Uchiwaka more.
So, we've also got, for the Type Lumina tie-in, Double Suck and Double XP for the 4 FGO characters in Melty Blood. That's Mash Rotoria, Dantes, and Uchiwaka. It's kind of weird, but is Double XP. That's fun. And Double Suck chance. The other 2 Type Lumina commemorative CEs, or their commemoration quests, technically are in the RP shop now. I believe the first one was Saber, and the second one is actually Arc-themed. And then also, Dante's got a rank up. His golden rule's been upgraded to now be a 20 to 30% battery, and it gives him a buff strip on crit for 3 turns, removing the enemy's newest buff. As long as you're critting. So yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Giving him 20-30% battery, even more looping. Also, this should probably make the Gilgamesh stands in chat happy, because Dantes also had golden rule like a something. So I personally, if you want to hear my bet, I'm gonna put my money on whenever Strange Fake actually comes out, there will be a tie-in drop in FGO, and then you'll get your Gil buff, probably to golden rule. There you go. They've set the precedent. We can go there now. Also, to commemorate the weirdest banner, Saber and Ushi rate up banner. It's just, yeah, okay, sure. We're really hammering home the banners. Just they're definitely keeping up the revenue stream, even though they've announced there's no new characters. Also, guys, seriously, we can stop posting Skeletor Christmas now, okay? People in the final cut, you don't know about that, but this has gone on since I brought that up in our patron chat. So yeah, we can call it a day, just for my sake. I don't think there'll be an Arjuna Altar banner next week. We should be getting 2 banners for Karna and regular Arjuna. I don't think they'll actually put Altar in there. But because of pity, we'll probably be getting 2 separate banners like they just did for the rerun. Anyway, we've got more weird events and tie-ins coming up. I mentioned this in the pre-bit there, which is, as I stated before, Fate Extra Last Encore Standard Edition BD, a Blu-ray drop, and OST release, happening the 14th and going on until the 22nd. So, yeah, it's unusual. I could have sworn we were already out, but, I guess we're getting it in there. The Blu-ray Standard Edition and the OST releasing. It's probably cool. Log in once during this time period for both a Master EXP and a Mystic Code EXP CE. So there's 2 commemorative CEs. If you cleared the CCC event Seraph, the regular Seraph Mystic Code, the regular extra one, is now free. If you spent RP on it, you will be refunded. So that's neat. Also, double suck chance, double FP, and still double EXP for the whole extra crew. So I'll grab yonder list for the full character list there. But we're being very generous with this double EXP for characters. Let's see. So it's all 3 Neros, Gawain, Robin Hood, Young Lee, Lancer Lee, regular Ku, Drake, Rhyme, and Lubu. And if you're like, oh, Omega, that would be so great if I had some brand new Nero to pick up because she's limited, or story locked, so I don't have that. Well, don't worry. Well, Single has you covered. Nero and Nero Bride banner as well. There you go. Another Bride banner. It's been a little bit, I think. So there you go. Yeah, we're just hammering home the banners. Additionally, we probably have our last Lost Belt 7 pre-release support campaign, starting on the 14th, going until the 1st of next year, so big long tail here. Log in sequentially for up to 12 Saint Quartz, limited time master missions during this time period for even more Saint Quartzes, more Leyline Stones, more EXPs and foes. And, additionally, once this campaign is started, half AP free quests if you've cleared Tunguska. So, lots of catch-up, get your extra Saint Quartz, get your mats ready up, get ready to rock and roll. By the way, somebody asked us in the comments for last episode. I didn't see it in our news desk, but I'm pretty sure it happened. Chat, you can double check for me. I'll put this out to the patron chat there. But I do believe we do have a live stream scheduled for Christmas Eve, right? For FGO. I believe there was that question last time that was supposed to be happening in addition to the New Year's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyrannus is correct. If anybody has a link to their page for that, be sure to drop it for me just to give them the saucin'. But yeah, that's what I remember hearing. So it came up before. Because that's currently where my money on LOSTBELT, LOSTBELT 7 actually launching, because that's literally a week before the new year, basically. Like, not quite, but pretty close. Somebody said Wednesday the 28th later, but I'm like, there's no stream for that day. So that will be incorrect, unless they're going to schedule a surprise stream. But if they've already got one at Christmas Eve, it'll be there. I've been following FGO for long enough to understand how releases work. Now over here in NA, in North America, we don't have a lot going on. We're mainly in the main swing. Haven't even gotten through the full week release of Carnimas, as many people call it, Path to Santa Claus. So we'll be probably giving you our first impressions of this event going on, but you can't quite get your permanent Carna yet, so we're still in swing. But we did cross 2,000 days. 2,000 days of FGO. I was on the 15th. If you logged in during that 24-hour block, you got 10 Saint Quartz. This number is actually funny to me because YouTube very recently gave us our year-in-review numbers. And while some of them were a little lackluster, sub growth is not doing great right now. Some of you people keep unsubbing. Or bots get eaten. Because we do still get bot spam posts and like comments and stuff sometimes. YouTube usually catches them, but it still happens. But what are not problematic, what are not bad, is our overall watch time strats, which was something like 3 million hours, I think? Or was it 3 million minutes? Anyway, whatever stat it was, I crunched it down. It was the equivalent of like 2,000 straight days of watching our content in the last year. So that's pretty bonkers if you put that into context of within a single year, you guys have watched us as many days as FGO has been running in North America, which is basically when the channel really kicked off. Before we started doing like Let's Tech FGO and stuff like that, and me bringing Lucky on for content regularly, it was just me dicking around with, tiny bits of video editing and stuff before. That didn't really go anywhere. So it's kind of shocking. It's cool. You guys blow my mind every time.
Every time.
But we have one last bit of news, kind of, and I put this in news rather than pro tips. So there was a bug reported with Quartz Revives. If you attempted to Quartz Revive after the 12.12 update, you would be kicked out of the game and couldn't log in for a little bit. After an app update, and there was a little bit of a data update out there as well, an optional update, I believe, but it seems to be gone. The dev team is looking into the exact cause. They don't know exactly what it was. They will probably dole out specific compensation at a later time. For instance, if you tried to spend a Saint Quartz to revive and got kicked out, you'll probably get your quartz back. I do believe everybody did get 3 gold apples at the latest reset as compensation for issues, though. But yeah, I double-checked this on the issues page. They say that it is no longer in the most up-to-date version of the game, so make sure your game is up-to-date. And they're working on figuring out exactly why that happened, because apparently it wasn't clear. But it should be resolved now. So, yeah, I believe that is all of our, normal news.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm trying to think if there's anything that we might have missed. Has anyone heard about the Strange Fake anime and its rebroadcasting date? Or its new broadcasting date? Anyone hear any juicy rumor?
Yeah, I'm just looking at our news desk and I'm not seeing it. I haven't seen anything in our general community about it. Some people were starting to post about GSSR stuff, though I don't think they've gone absolutely apeshit, but
not yet.
That is fairly close. I think it's no date yet.
Alright, then. With that, then, we will switch on over to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, we only have... refresh? 6! We did get one. 6 lovely comments. This is partly because, this is all because of me, because I forgot, and then I decided to be mean. Was Lucky mean? Yes, Lucky was mean. People did give me reminders Wednesday, and I do believe I was reminded Thursday by someone. I cannot remember who. But I did post it Thursday, but unlike what I usually did, I didn't tell anybody. I just posted it up in the community and left it, and I was just going to see if anyone noticed. After 24 hours, only one person had posted in there. I'm just all like, man, you people don't check this at all.
I wanna throw on there. Oh, somebody grab me the screen grab for the date. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to add on to this because obviously I noticed I am also on the channel, and I was checking it out because when I asked you about uploading the AP, I was also going to talk about mailbag, but I double checked to make sure you hadn't done it and saw it. I'm like, okay, it's there. All right, he just hasn't announced it. Whatever. So I actually tweeted it, which I don't normally do. I tweeted a link to mailbag without saying it was mailbag or anything, and we still didn't get a lot of bite on that. So on the plus side, at least lucky this means that when you do go on our Discord and post in all those places about mailbag and have the mailbag link, that means people pay attention to that, at least, when you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was just an experiment just to see where the traffic comes from.
Yeah. And now we know.
Now we know. It's all Discord-based. So, with that, let us get started. So this first one comes from student from Chaldea.
It's a new Pokemon.
Oh. But they say, hey, Lucky and Maggie, just wanted to send you good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And let you know I appreciate the hard work you put into the shows. I hype you both up because y'all deserve it. Hope your weekend is relaxing. Thank you, student from Chaldea. Is it Chaldea?
Yes.
I'm assuming it's going to be Chaldea. Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, no, Lucky's just having, part of my problem right now is it's the end of the year, and it's winter, it's depressing, seasons, and all that stuff. I'm very dead right now. I'm a little burnt out. So your well wishes are super appreciated. Thank you very much. We shall move on.
Your well wishes. I was heckin' sick this week, so.
Next one comes from a master taking boxing lessons from Martha and Himiko. Yes, powerful. Hey, Suplex Lucky and Crosscut Omega. Hope your Lotto farmer has been going well. I made it to my third box, so I'm taking it slow for right now. With the end of the year right around the corner, here's my question for you both. What was the most satisfying victory against a challenge quest or boss from this year? For me, it was a tie between current stopping Zeus with Naonobu and chopping down Domon with Musashi. Sending you the good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And may your future roles be blessed. Do you think people just keep saying good vibes so that I keep making the sound?
I think specifically they say vibes rather than like well wishes or anything because you make the sound yes, but I also do think that they would probably still say something positive even if vibes weren't like codified into our language. At least I hope so, Chan.
Filthy Casual here just says yes. So yes, they definitely put good vibes in there just so I make the noise.
We know what's up. Let's see, most challenging bosses. I don't really do challenge quests. Y'all should know that about me, unless it's like really easy. I'm thinking back over the year. I mean, I do kind of think that out of all the fights in Olympus that were hard, Big Daddy Zeus was not hard for me. I did do that first try with the power of Space Ishtar. That was pretty fun. Space Ishtar Grober. I don't know of any others that were like felt particularly satisfying or impressive. A lot of my
honestly, I don't think I was that impressed by the Zeus fight. Like the Zeus fight, personally, I won't say was necessarily special. He was just kind of a end of the road kind of boss to me. Like if I'm being real, like in Olympus, like the Meter and Aphrodite fights usually stand out a lot more.
Yeah, I mean,
but I can't.
The thing around the Zeus fight itself was pretty hype because we get like extra Mystic Code shit and stuff like that get to boop around. But it's definitely more. It's very similar to the giant mammoth fight in LOSTBELT 1. You're all hyped up that you feel like you're gonna win this, so it's not necessarily like you feel pressed. It's just like, yeah, we can do this. We can boop Big Face. Not that I don't enjoy booping Big Face, but yeah, there's a lot more stuff that was more complex, I guess, more involved.
I'm just continuing to think here. Like unfortunately, I'm not one of those people who necessarily thinks well in the terms of like victory. Because I'm playing a game, victory is basically all but assured in most cases. You just usually have to find the right combination to do that, and if you don't care, you can just, feed quartz into the problem until it solves itself. So I usually don't really think about victory. Like, usually things that stick out is, like, the circumstances and mechanics of said fight. Like, fighting the Treasure Beast, and, like, I just remember, like, the visuals on that, and fucking, Coin Sky at 9 Drive, just every break bar, the fucking adds another piece to the track.
Yeah.
Like, shit like that is what usually sticks out to me when I'm fighting bosses.
The presentation is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. Like, I think the other reason why, like I said, I brought up Zeus was just because that was, unlike all the other quests, I don't think I had to force that one, really. It was just like, no, wait, he's a ruler? I have something for this. I have a Grailed unit for once that's really good at this. Let's go. Like, That was just, one of the times when I was actually ahead of the thing and not just being like, oh my god, I'm dying, oh my god. Demeter, stop crushing me. I can't. Nope, been crushed.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if I don't have a satisfactory action on that, but that's what I got. So let us move on. This next one comes from Almost Moving Matrix. They say, "Heyo, Crow Gunbreaker, Lucky, and Lucid Dreaming Red Mage Omega." These titles are very long. Call. I hope you're feeling alright and that life is going okay. Good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. I don't know why you put this in parentheses, but okay. I know this week is mostly likely talk about the Christmas events, and both of you not like getting into the grind just yet, so I hope I give you something to help expand upon that precious content time. So,
my ad revenue thanks you.
So here's the question. What do you guys want in a good... I know who actually saw this, and I see what they're doing here. I see what you're doing here.
Yes, I understand the reference.
Yeah. What do you guys want in a good birthday? Want things or events to make it memorable, or a great one in your books? Have a happy Hanukkah and a pleasant holiday season.
It's not very often we do get the happy Hanukkahs, though. That's at least novel.
Well, I think I only know 2 people who are specifically Jewish in our chat. There may be more. But there's 2 people who have mentioned it to me several times that they're Jewish, and it's stuck with me. Or maybe. But, yes, happy Hanukkah to you too, my dude. But what makes memorable birthdays to me? People showing up. Like, Lucky is pretty much a loner. I like being alone. I don't necessarily, mind it for long periods of time. But on, things like special days and special occasions, I do like people that I have, made friendships with to, show up. Especially since I have had several birthdays happen where I try to make plans and invite my friends over, and then no one will show up. So yes, what makes a birthday memorable to me? When people show up. That might be a little sad, but there you go. God, it reminds me of the time I cooked an entire Thanksgiving feast, invited 20 people and no one showed up. I think this is it was that point where Lucky just started being an asshole to people.
Well, some people were kind of an asshole to you. Damn, I cannot imagine the skipping out. Because, funnily enough, I'm gonna have almost an opposite answer. Because of my horrible social anxieties and my dislikes of crowds, I don't actually like a big deal on my birthday. I've always thought it was very awkward. It makes me internally cringe whenever people went out of their way to make a big deal and if there's one thing that's gonna drive me to fucking kill you, it's if you were to bring up if we were out at a restaurant and say it's my birthday and get him to sing happy birthday, I'm gonna pick up that steak knife and I'm gonna kill you. I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want weird people to be singing happy birthday to me. Not even for free cake. Don't do that. So I like it to be subtle, but if people don't know, I actually have over the past several years a pretty decent routine down for my birthday, which is just very simply I don't go out to a lot of movies because I live in the suburbs a lot and I don't really drive, and even if I was driving, it's gas bill and a lot of other stuff on there. But we go out to see a movie. My parents usually go with me because I'm still living with them, and we see whatever's up. No idea what the fuck we're gonna watch this year. I don't know if there's anything great. I think Avatar: Way of the Water will still be out, but I hear that's really long. It's a bit of a drive. I don't know if I want to do that in the cold. And then also I get some McDonald's. And you might not think that's not that special, chat, but I would like to let you know that is literally the one day a year I eat fast food. Because again, I don't really go out and travel a lot, so it's easier to eat in, and I don't really go for food delivery apps, because mostly when I have weird hankerings for fast food, it's in the middle of the night, and even if they're open, I'm not gonna bum out some dude to get me McDonald's at 9 o'clock at night. Okay, it's just wrong. I'll get over it. So yeah, that's just what I do, and that's what makes it good to me. Is just if I can do something a little special to me that I don't always do. I don't usually go out to see movies in the theaters. I don't usually go out to actually pick up some fast food and go home. But, and sometimes, when I've been sick and couldn't go out, or when we were all pandemics, we rent a movie instead, order some pizza, whatever, just quiet, subtle, hey, it's your birthday, let's do something different, do something a little special, get on with our lives. That's me. That's just, I like just the acknowledgement and the novelty of it. I don't really go in for anything big or splashy.
Yeah, right now I think my preferred, birthday thing is grabbing a few people and we go to the bar.
Sounds solid.
Yeah, I like drinking. I enjoy my alcohol, but I'm not a heavy drinker. I maybe have, some alcohol, I'll get, a 6-pack of, hard cider, and, we'll polish that off over a week, and we'll do that every couple months. Or once in a while, I'll get a hankering for something harder, and I'll make a mixed drink with because I always keep a bottle of vodka, Kirkland vodka, and the Kirkland rum you can get from Costco because that stuff's actually pretty decent quality for the price. And I might have a cap, but no, when I go out to the bar, that's when I start ordering so let me start off with a fucking mojito, and then I'm gonna follow it up with a Long Island iced tea, and then let me get some sex on the beach, and then at that point I'm just all like, woo! And then I have to drink 3 glasses of water so I don't become a complete wreck the next day.
Hydrate. Yeah, no, seems like you got your formula too.
Yeah. That's why I like to do on my birthday. I like to go out. Me and my friends have been actually talking my next birthday. We're actually going to go out to this fucking huge arcade. I think it's in South Center, called Round 1 or something. Apparently they have this a huge arcade, and we're like, yes. Normally we go to a place called Dorky's, which is a barcade down here in Tacoma. It's a bar and arcade. Has a bunch of old-timey machines. Sick. Carlos says Round 1 is good. But that's enough about birthday stuff. Let us move on. This next one comes from arts enthusiasts enjoying animated event backgrounds. Sick. Hey, Lucky and Omega. I was wondering about whether or not you try to save Saint Courts if there's a major target you're looking forward to. I usually try to hoard my currency since I'm free to play aside from the guaranteed gacha. Feel free to admit, as a result, my Saint Courts is around 2,000 and my Blue Archive Primer Gems are around 113,000.
That's a lot.
That is a lot! Let's see here. I think to get a guarantee on Blue Archive to hit the 200, you need 24k. Because each 10 spins 1,200. So, and Blue Archive has a pity system. You roll 200 times, you can just pick up the unit. So 24k. I have 26k right now because I'm saving for Summer Wakama. That's my goal. I also want Summer Izuna, but if I have to pick between my foxes, I'm going for the the Chiwa Saito one. This person almost has enough to go for 5 back-to-back. Almost. It's not quite there. He's still several thousand short. But it's closer to there than is not.
Damn.
Yeah, no.
They must really be holding it for something special.
Yeah, but what?
I don't know.
What are they holding for?
Okay, we can roll this back one. You're asking our question about saving. I have never saved up 2k Saint Courts, but I know that there are people who will start a run of FGO and will literally never spend a single Saint Courts until it is time to roll for the servant they are waiting for, and they can hit around the 2k range. That's not that freaky to me. That's a lot of fucking Saint Courts, but hey, that's how you get, pity that way for free to play. I have personally never saved up that many.
No, I'm horrible at saving. My financial willpower is shit. Know this. I said, I'm not
saving an FGO anyway. You're terrible.
Yeah, I mean, in other games, I can hold back, but usually speaking on how much free I get. In Destiny Child, I don't spend a damn thing because I can usually get what I want really fucking easy. I've already spent money on Nikkei because it's new and I want to make sure they have money to keep putting out the things. Although, just found out fucking Tencent bought 20% of them. I'm just like, why? That's not good. And Blue Archive, I usually spend a little bit of money here and there too, but not too much. Azure Lane was killing me. I actually had to drop Azure Lane because the costumes slay me, and they're fucking...
Yeah, that's what I get you.
Yeah, and the fucking, I never have enough cubes when, an event comes out. I didn't even finish the Ryza event, because I'm just I was just sitting there, I'm trying to get this last one without spending money, the last shit without spending money. I'm just I can't do
Honestly,
it.
I think that's also... I got out way earlier than you, but I think that is the thing that did kill it for me as well, was just, I never felt like I had enough currency when an event happened anyway, and then also, they always wanted to hit me right in the wallet with the costumes, and I'm like, I don't want to spend this money, actually, but you make me want to spend this money. So I'm gonna...
with Nikkei right now, they have, some costumes in their shop, and they're just straight out, $20. But they also have costumes in their season passes, which are $20. But you also get, usually get enough for, a 10 spin and other materials in there. So, I take it at the bulk package. I'm like, okay, this is okay.
Yeah.
But
it's like when I was playing Arknights before, honestly, there was nothing wrong with how Arknights characters or gacha worked. It was fucking depressing. I did not have a fun time playing Arknights.
Nikkei is surprisingly depressing, but it has many moments of levity, so you don't feel as bad. And sometimes you're just on the floor because things are so bittersweet.
Yeah. I know that they've improved some performance. I haven't had the time to try it out, but I'm still willing to go back to it. It's still installed on my phone. But it's just I was comfortable while playing Arknights being like, hey, here's my $5 every month. Even if I don't log in all the days, I'm willing to pay you guys to keep going and get my free shit, my quote unquote free shit. My extra hit of dopamine there. But that's a lot of there. In FGO, I'm pretty good at saving. I feel like as I've started making more money out of this, I've gotten worse at it because I feel like, just let me double check my bank account. Yeah, I can eat an 80-pack or two and still eat, real food this month. No problems. But in general, I've always been the more free-to-play guy, the more hoardy. Also, especially because usually when I spend money, I don't get what I fucking want. Because I'm not willing to go into the lucky length and just, spend money until I get it. It's usually I budget a couple of purchases per banner. But so I'm usually pretty good at holding. Like I said, I've never hit the 2K hold. I have saved over 500 St. Quartzes. I think I've hit over 6 before. 600, but I've never gotten to 4 digits in saved quartz just because I don't think I've ever had a strain where I was hardcore saving that the servants I wanted didn't come out in there, because usually there's at least one person in summer that I want, and my luck is abysmal at summers. It has always been bad, and it continues to be kind of bad. I got pretty good with Las Vegas. With my double Musashi, but also remember that I went fucking quartz broke trying to roll fucking Carmilla and had to wait until I got 30 days and she was back on solo to get her. Oof. Big woof. Oh my god, I just realized. Hey, here's a funny thing, chat. Pity has fuckled me. There won't be a solo day for Summer Tomoe next year. I have to roll when she's going to be on, unless they split up the banners, but I don't think they will because they have just the 2 SSRs. That means I could still roll more Summer Murasaki, who I do already have, but I don't have Summer Tomoe. Pain pickup. But there you go. There's a discussion of our spending habits in gacha games. This is where all the free-to-play hoarders are going to come out in the comments and be like, I have 5,000 St. Quartz. I will roll for the first time ever when Morgan comes out. I'll be like, same. Some people do have the hardcore like that. I at least respect the self-control. Like, if you know that there's literally one limited unit you want, and you're ready to go on that. But also, damn, I like so many characters in this game. I don't know how you'd hold it in for so long, right? I know Lucky knows what I'm talking about.
Listen, I'm about to say, this is what I get for being a filthy polygamist, I guess. Yeah. I love them all too much.
I'm usually pretty good at holding tickets, but that depends on the banners. Like, I'll fucking shotgun tickets if I care about the banner a little bit, but if I don't care about the banners or their units that I have, I'm just like, nah, I don't need them. So I had 17, even though I think I spent them all on Guda. Anywho's, we got a couple more.
Oh, we only got a couple more. All right. Hey, let's move.
We're schmoving. We're grooving.
And with that, this next one comes from the Tyrant King, who is now a believer of the Wanted Catalyst. Question. Hey guys, with Pokemon retiring Ash as their main character, and we're heading into our final launch spell with LB7 presumably next week, I would like to ask what we consider the end of our journey with us as the player characters, and if when we have an FGO2, would you want /us them, question mark, oh that's a pretty good one, to show up in future stories to help to grow a new protagonist along. Anyway, that's it for me, sending good vibes your way, and I hope you have a great evening. P.S. Gonna try and binge all of the Babylonian anime before LB7 comes out, to remind me of what to expect / not expect.
Yeah, I don't actually know if this will be our final LOSTBELT chapter, because we keep hearing this is only halfway through their plans for part 2. I don't fucking know. It'll definitely be Mr. Nasu's Wild Ride.
And me personally, I'm a fan. I'm always a fan of things being in at least especially in stories. I'm always a fan of things being in 3s.
Yeah.
So personally, I would like a third part to this before we actually went into an FGO2. I've talked about it. Several times before, but I've always enjoyed the idea of how the singularities works and all that stuff. The LOSTBELT. Part 1 is 7 past we have to correct. Part 2 is 7 presents that we have to destroy, and the third part would be 7 futures that we have to save or something like that.
Yeah, that's definitely something that Fate has not shied away from future or near future storytelling. There are both active and inactive storylines that technically take place in the future because I've always want to remind people, Nasu also really likes sci-fi, in case you guys haven't picked up on that. There are parts of the Nasuverse that are very science fantasy. Arguably, FGO currently is in one of them. Our threat is a literal alien who uses physics against us. But there's... I like the triplicate as well, and I do kind of like the parts where we get to be time cops.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, I think there's a lot of secure character development for the main protagonist kind of growing into their own. There's definitely something to be said for, even if it's not a full, third arc, part 3 that involves the main protagonist, there's definitely time for some post-game cleanup to, actually ruminate on that character development,
Well, yeah, I am personally, when we go on to FGO2, me personally, am not okay with switching over to a new protagonist, because I don't actually want to know if, the protagonist story is done. What is there going to be their life like after all the LOSTBELTs? I think there's more to explore. You're talking about part 3, seven fugitives to fave. I like to see that from the perception of he's a fugitive, or she. I use the male protagonist, so forgive me if I'm biased in my pronouns here. But we usually use the protagonist as an XP ourselves, but because you do have dialogue and whatnot, and he generally has only one or two ways of moments, you do kind of get a sense of what the character is like, especially when you see servants and other characters and stories remark upon your character.
Yeah.
So
it's in a way, it kind of reminds me of a lot of certain classical RPGs, and I do think that even From stuff is kind of in this way as well, with blank slate characters. Obviously, we have to acknowledge that mostly the player character is a vessel for the player person. But also, we can still we can make comments towards how the player might be experiencing this arc, so that, lends itself to character development. A lot of people talking about, oh, you look like a kid, but you've got hardened eyes, it is open-ended so that you can, not truly self-insert, but see the protagonist as a viewpoint character who's, serving as your POV into this world, but also they have their own arcs. Which the animated adaptations do a decent job of portraying, but I think even the core FGO does pretty good at catching up to. And there's definitely something to be said for if you're following, archetypal stories like the 3-act structure, like the hero's journey, etc. There is always that part, the denouement, the tail on the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you kind of gotta explore what they're like, and the story isn't. I don't think that a lot of stories are complete when they just cut off at the happy ending if they don't at least present to you what is immediately coming afterward. A lot of stories immediately will drop off after main conflict gets resolved, and that's kind of
I'm not gonna be happy with the story is they beat the bit bag, you got your paycheck, but you went home and lived a absolutely ordinary life. I'm just be like,
that would be kind of sad almost for our protagonist. You need some kind of catharsis with it after.
Yeah, no, so that's why I think we need one more part with the main character, possibly on the run with the world against them to really narrow down but what he wants to do in the future.
Yeah. And
because that's I think what the third part should be about, what does the main character want for their future as you go around saving futures and whatnot.
Yeah, that could be a good way to tie it up all together. In general, I trust the writing team, which is mostly Nasu, but also some other people sometimes. I trust them at least to make something that is appropriate and emotionally impactful. I don't really know where we're FGO has turned into such a labyrinthine beast, pun possibly intended.
Oh, I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna kill us off, and then we're gonna be summoned as a servant, or we're gonna be the fucking default servant for FGO Part 2. There you go.
That'd be pretty funny. Hey, it works. But the plot has gotten away from being, 7 distinct events, because obviously in Part 2 we've expanded, we've had 2.5 LOSTBELTs, we've had several side events, both with Epic of Remnant and in LOSTBELT, Cosmos of the LOSTBELT part, which were technically limited time events, but were absolutely canon, thanks main interlude,
Thanks.
Obviously CCC, and then, OQ and Tunguska, etc. So, the story is in more parts than the classical 7, though obviously I think the original 7 mirrored concepts, and certainly, the same with the 7 major thematic characters and stuff has kind of stuck to that. There's been a lot of, room directly in there, but they've said that they've got plans for, up to 10 years, and that was, in, like, year 6, I think they said that. And obviously, we talked about this when the Last Encore acquisition happened, Aniplex, Sony through Aniplex, acquired the entirety of the FGO development arm from Delightworks and spun it off into its own subsidiary. And they spent quite a lot of money on that. It was a few billion, wasn't it? Somebody remember what the sale number was. Yeah, it was around year 5 or 6 that they said they had plans for at least up to year 10, because people were like concerned. Like honestly, if you think about it, the first arc, part 1 of FGO, is almost at like a record-setting pace. And it kind of feels like it. Some of those events are a little throwaway. I think it comes from the fact that they needed to have, or they felt like they wanted to have Fuyuki, Orleans, and Septim done all right away, right? Which you kind of cruise, you kind of clip through those pretty fast. So they God, can you imagine if they launched the Lost Belt parts with the intro, Lost Belt 1 and 2 available right away? Ooh, damn, that would be a humdinger. Also would have been a lot harder on the writers, and probably would have fucked up banners and stuff. Anyway, so I feel like Aniplex and Sony are invested in FGO's future. So they're definitely, even if 10 years for regular FGO, I assume they'll come up with a new app. I guess the question is, what that will be. Like, will they just legacy the servers? In that case, it'll be so long and thanks for all the fish, everybody. Or will they, keep their data but move to a new app version eventually, which I could totally see them doing, because they fucking know everything about you and what you do in the game, guys. We've talked about this before, they track so many stats. It would be fairly easy for them to move to a new app version that can do new things, but keep track of everybody's servants if they wanted to. I don't know if they want to do a clean start, as much as people, poke fun at it, the people behind the writing and the structuring of FGO do seem to believe in the idea that a lot of this game is about your relationship to your servants. Like, part of the reason why they made the auto limit break thing and how to handle the free SSR work right, was they didn't want to make it just like you pick the unit you need most and then you forget about them, kind of a thing. That's why it has the bond requirement, right? You got a max ascension. They're like, we believe that the game is supposed to be about you building relationship with these servants you get and kind of, working through leveling them up, adding them to your roster, and, using them into their appropriate feelings. So, yeah, you have to actually, work on this servant if you want to keep him. You can't just, scratch it off like you're punching a lotto card. It's got to be, we want you to build this relationship. So, I assume that they would probably be continuing to do game design from that perspective. So it'll be very interesting to see how they could, keep that as is for what they want to do. And they might not. They might try to, bamboozle us and go straight to the no, you need to spend it all over again. Or not. I don't know. I mean, they got to, hypothetically, if they're designing an all-new app, they do have to cover dev costs, and operating costs, though obviously I would like to point out they've made quite a lot of money on this as is.
Clearly, they need to do an Overwatch 2, and you'll just get to keep all the servants you summon. Just port over your user data.
Yeah, I mean, they have that too. They've got your passcodes and shit and your IDs, so it's an interesting to think about. We still have several years, at minimum, 3 years to think about it. And again, that is assuming there's still only a 10-year plan after 2 more years have passed, which might not be true. I don't think Nissan or anybody else in the Last Encore team has talked about it, other than just to let us know that Lost Belt 7 is not the end of the game immediately. So, yeah. To kind of go back to the original question, there's a lot of existential stuff here we got into. I agree with you, Lucky. I like the rule of 3. And I said before, I oftentimes feel like a story is a little incomplete if they don't give you that little bit of a hint of what's going to happen after the main conflict is resolved. This is a problem I have with some shows I really, really like, or movies I really, really like even, where because we can only cram so much entertainment in here, it's like, okay, the conflict's over, we think everything's gonna be fine, we're fucking going, we're leaving!
Right up to the sunset!
Oh, I just want a little bit of a... for instance, I can say this, my favorite Hayao Miyazaki film is Princess Mononoke.
Yes, no, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah, I still want an extra 5 minutes of that movie just to be sure, because it
what
wraps
did you do after it?
Yeah, it wraps up really nice and clean, but also everything's fucked, and I'm like, okay, I believe that these characters will be alright, but, I also really want a little bit more emotional payoff to what they're going to do with their lives, because there's a lot of, like, open-ended stuff here. It's a very open-ended, film.
Like, are they going to go back to the fucking Iron Town and, maybe fix that? Or are they going to go up into the fucking wilds? I need to figure out which direction they're going here.
Yeah, I love the movie to death because it is so much my aesthetic, but I have always felt that the ending is just like, I want a little bit more denouement. The only denouement is, well, we did it. The forest is healed. Billy Bob Thornton Monk is got away scot-free because he wasn't really a bad guy, but he was definitely a bad guy. He was kind of a scumbag in that movie, guys.
He was also, a mercenary.
Yes, in the dub, he was played by Billy Bob Thornton. Disney went all out with that Miramax dub back in the day. It's very funny. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So I kind of hope FGO at least has a little bit of that tail. And I kind of think they will, because that's kind of how EOR worked. It was to buy time and follow up on concepts that weren't, fully introduced. And, again, talking about how labyrinthine FGO has gotten, FGO's world building is fucking demented. Like, it took until Heiankyo for them to explain actually what happens when we ray shift two singularities in the Lost Belt timeline. And I'm like, damn, we could have explained that as a throwaway line way sooner. But the writers probably didn't care until it came up, until it came up as an actual plot point that mattered. So we just kind of took it, for granted. So FGO's got a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Like, if we do transition to a true sequel with a different character, you almost always have to have the previous player character as a cameo, That's part of the moves. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but that's part of the vibes. I'm still hoping for a little bit more with our protagonist and at least some of our Chaldea crew. I believe that's another thing they've hinted at with any future, like, Part 3 stuff would be they want to shift the scene away from some of the Chaldea crew and side cast. So that, as much as I might miss, Director Goldorf, Munier, Small Vinci, Sherlock, etc., like, I could also totally see that as a way to recontextualize our current player character in kind of a new chapter in our life by putting them in a different segment.
When you think about it, honestly, when you think about it, we did basically entirely change our support staff from Part 1 to Part 2.
True. Because all of the Chaldea characters we meet, including Munier, are, basically new. We lost Dr. Robyn at the end of Part 1, and Da Vinci kind of, got out there. Mm-hmm. So there's that as well, and we got new characters. We keep Foe and Mash, but that's kind of the point of the through line there.
Well, Mash is supposed to kind of is our main heroine. Almost what's the term for secondary protagonist?
Yeah, you could call her a supporting protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, we've built up other new characters. We got introduced to Sion and Nemo. We got, starting in EOR, Sherlock became kind of a permanent member of the squad. He was kind of a weird guy hanging around in Part 1. So there's a lot of options and setting to... Deuteragon is another one.
That was the word I was thinking of, but I had no idea how to say it. I can only read it.
Where there's Deuteragonist, where there's two protagonists. Hypothetically, you could have a tritagonist, but I don't think you get a lot there because you split the audience's focus too much, you break their brains. Mm-hmm. Everybody take a drink, but OSP dropped a detailed diatribe on, somebody even brought up OSP as well, on multiverses and what Red calls the multiverse problem. And it takes them a while to get there. I think the video has a lot of merit, though, of actually discussing what the obvious flaw in a lot of multiverse stuff is. But one of them I want to say is basically a lot of it comes down to, like, which multiverses, which different universes matter. And Red's notes say, writers don't often go with the every single world matters all the time, all the universes matter, because it's really hard to have that amount of investment in literally everything going on, and writers like cannon fodder. Like, it's hard to split the audience's focus and keep them invested in so many characters and things and treat them like they're the protagonist all the time. But yeah, I expect, again, we will probably see, like, and that fits our flow from, like, Part 1 to Part 2 as well. We have entirely different, like, backgrounds, all new, like, background CGs, new characters come in, new kind of mechanics. First we were cruising on the Shadow Border, and then we did other stuff, so I could see it being another, like, big change of pace, and in a sense, even if we do actually, like, properly unfuck the timeline and put everything back, it wasn't the alien god that directly destroyed Chaldea. The LOSTBELT version of Anastasia destroyed Sheba, right?
Right.
I even if we unbleach the earth and all that other stuff. I don't know how that relates to the fact that the cryptors broke all our shit, right?
Right.
So...
Listen, now I'm sticking with it. First we were time cops, now we must become time fugitives.
A veritable time thief.
Mm-hmm. Because they're gonna be all like, you broke this! How dare you!
The fucking clock tower ends up sending us the bill for the Shiba lens, even though we didn't do it.
I mean, this sounds like typical,
Sounds about right, yeah.
Like typical, God, what are institution power? There's a term for this, like corporate. I don't want to use the term necessarily corporate, because Clock Tower is not necessarily a corporation,
but they are an institution,
yeah,
that has this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's a lot of options they can do to get in there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I expect if we do a full switch, there will be a cameo, and I would like to see it, but I would still like a little bit more of a tale.
Maybe part 3 is we're still time cops, but we're the villain, and the new protagonist is the one pursuing us.
That's another classic one. That one's a little rough, because then the audience is like, oh, do I want to actually, side against the character I used to like? I think that FGO probably wouldn't be the worst for us, because, again, the main character is a little, open-ended. There's definitely some work you could do there with character development. Well, yeah, there's a lot of fucking shit we need to resolve.
Well, yeah, no, I can see it working, because basically if we're trying to fix something that's broken, and Clock Tower's all like, no, they lie! Even though we're totally not lying, and they send someone out after us, and they're the protagonist. I mean, I think that could work, but nah, I'd rather just be the fugitive straight up and just run.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Mm-hmm. Alright, well, that wasn't our last mailbag, actually.
It was not our last mailbag, but it was good for filling up time.
Yeah, and it's a good discussion. We have it. I feel like the commentary comes up basically every 6 months as we hit another milestone in FGO, but it's a good one to have every once in a while, because, you got to check in with everybody's expectations.
Yeah.
Nasu does say he wants us to feel satisfied with a certain amount of finality at the end of the story, so we'll see.
Yeah, we're totally dying. It's better to have a cool death than a boring life.
Definitely narratively way better.
Yeah. Half as long, twice as bright. But this last one comes from Agent 418, who says, hello, Lucky Omega. Hope the Lotto has been treating you both well. Santa Carner delivered 2 Lotto CEs and 2 Vitra without much pain on my end. P.S. Have a good weekend. Same to you.
Oh, that reminds me. I was going to say this earlier, but we got really into that conversation. But they brought up the Wanted before. Somebody else mentioning Vitra. Hey, guys, thanks for showing up for the Wanted Vitra. I didn't think that video was going to do very good. It actually got more views than the Ibuki one, which I was startled by. I feel like people probably already knew if they wanted to roll on Ibuki or not. Definitely one of those hit or miss kind of servants. But yeah, a lot of you actually showed up for Vitra, and I got a surprising number of comments from people being like, nah, fuck it, I'm going to roll anyway. Because as usual, depending on the banner placement, because of the power of clairvoyance, I will put in some comments like, I appreciate you guys leaving comments on the video for the algorithm and all that. It's really cool engagement. As the guy who has to read your comments constantly, I literally can't get away from them. It will put all the newest contents on my dashboard every time I log into YouTube Studio. I got really tired after the first, year or two of doing Wanted, where people would be like, cool servant, gonna skip the banner. I was like, guys, you don't need to tell me that. I probably know what banners people are gonna skip. So I was actually pleasantly surprised when I brought that up again for Vitra, because I was like, yeah, I expect a lot of you people are going to be like, well, I'm already out of courts from, Toman or Ibuki, or I'm, going to save for Muramasa, which is, where I'm generally going myself. Again, there's the 10 pull of sadness, the min. But I appreciate, the extra vibes in there. I guess you guys found it interesting. I thought it was pretty fun to do, even though I had to talk about how there's so much Vedic text. It's kind of hard to do Wanted for a lot of the real classic Indian servants, because there's just so much back there. There's so much in the different epics and hymns and stuff, and it's like, okay, here's the bullet point summary I found a couple, repeated a couple times on the internet. Can I tell the original source? Fuck no. It's in one of these 46 books. I'm sorry. There's only so much I can do with a couple weeks of prep time. I'm good, but I'm not that good, y'all. But alright, that was our last mailbag, but it was a hearty mailbag, even with only 6.
Hearty.
And remember, if you're listening to that, you want to get on that mailbag action, just, start checking on our community tab sometime around Wednesday. If it's Wednesday and it's not up yet, you can be bold. You can attempt to remind Lucky to post mailbag.
I mean, multiple people actually send me direct messages about that. I don't usually respond, but I do.
People give you a little shake. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's
so
fine.
if you want to be that bold, you can give it a shot. And yeah, just follow the rules that are included in every mailbag post and throw up your mailbag, and we'll probably read it unless you're really mean or silly to us or something.
If you're an animal, I will not.
Yes, but we will at least acknowledge that you wrote in and call you an animal.
Yes.
We just don't always play along. Mailbag is not the teleprompter from Anchorman. It's not a magic bullet, but it's fun, and you can get on it too. And the deadline is basically when Lucky says he's refreshing mailbag while we're recording. That's it. That's the cutoff.
Yeah, if you wrote anything after that, not reading it. Nope.
We can't. It's too late. We've already done the segment.
Yep.
But speaking of segments, it's time for Free Talk. We got a couple of things to talk about. I haven't put any specific notes, but I do have first impressions of the new event. But I did also want to bring out, it has now been over a week since Mahoyo has properly come out digitally. I believe quite a few people are playing it. Somebody posted the sales numbers a few days ago. I could not find that post again. I believe it was over 100,000.
Yeah, I thought it was over 110,000.
Yeah, it was something like that. I think it was 110 was what I remember. But it's in that ballpark, which is pretty good for a visual novel. I was going to bring up Metacritic scores, but shockingly, Mahoyo has none. It has not been officially reviewed by any major outlets.
This continues to cement my fucking theory that fucking review outlets don't like to read.
That's still pretty possible. You can go with that. I also suspect that it kind of just goes into. I feel like the marketing for this game, obviously there's been some, when I was searching for the stat, I did actually dig up a while ago when there was the Nintendo Direct, and Mahoyo was in the sizzle reel, right? Witch of the Holy Night was there, so there's a little bit of rep for upcoming releases and stuff, but I definitely feel like a lot of the press coverage, the marketing attempts have been fairly insular, It's been shit at a panel for Aniplex, Albert reminds a room full of FGO people that Mahoyo's coming out kind of a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect that probably means that review copies were not circulated, and as Lucky said, it is a lot of reading. I don't know if reviewers got the time since the game came out to read. Maybe when the physical release comes out, but otherwise we'll see then. We're waiting on the physical release ourselves. There you go, somebody got it. What's the source?
The thing I'm curious about is that sales number. Does that include pre-orders?
Yeah, I am curious if that does mean the physical pre-orders.
Because that's what I did. I'm waiting on my physical pre-order, so might be more, might be less. Who knows?
More, might be less, but we're moving units. That's pretty good sales for a visual novel, and if you multiply out those prices, digital or physical, that's good. That's a solid turnout for something that technically is not even a new game. This is the remastered version, right? There is new work put into it. I believe there are new music arrangements, new CGs, and okay, so that includes the digital buys and the physical pre-orders. Still, this is good. It's a good number. So I hope this does what we all hoped it would do, and it shows to Type Moon and Aniplex that there is a demand for these over here in the worldwide market, whether it is digital or whether it is physical. And maybe we can get a little more action, get some classics, get the proper release of Tsukihime remake over here. Maybe again get those iOS and Android versions of Fate Stay Night that are floating out there, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see. And hey, technically, even though Type Moon and Aniplex don't have our money yet, we did our part and both blocked in our physical pre-orders. It's gonna be one of my late January games, along with Dead Space remake. Yes, I am committed.
I am committed. I am going to try and beat Callisto Protocol before that. I did actually restart it. I'm playing it on easy because I do not want to be asked with these damn mechanics, and I'm having a much better experience. And by which means I'm kind of just fucking bored. It's...
That seems kind of a shame, but not unexpected to be at a point where, okay, the normal difficulty requires way too much fucking effort to progress, but the easy mode is just dull. It kind of fits what I understood of the game. I'm very sad it turned out that way, but I've got other shit to do. Tune in. What's up? Tomorrow if you're live listening, or later today if this has gone to public on YouTube. For my budget thoughts on Crisis Core, which I am smack in the middle of, because I'm having a blast with that. That's always the worst part. Sorry, somebody in Patreon chat said that Callisto Protocol is an intensely okay game, and I'm like, yeah, that's always the real disappointment when a game that you think is going to be pretty good or great, and it's just very mid, right? Like, if you expect a game to be mid, but you know what you're doing, you're fine. Like, I never got around to finishing Chorus or Astray Ascending, some early, like, PS5 games that we talked about. But I had fun playing them. I don't feel bad about spending money on them. And you never know. I might get bit by the bug and get back into it, right?
Right.
Because I didn't think those games would be spectacular. I thought I didn't have anything else to play, and I was like, these games seem neat. Let's play them. Callisto is definitely something we were both pretty hyped up for, and then it was just like, it is merely all right. And I'm just kind of like, oh. Yes, Astray Ascending was the one about, those guys. And that was absolutely because I just JRPG'd myself. I fucked up my class ascensions. I gave somebody a redundant class, and it ruined it. Ruined it for everything. This is why respecking is essential, because there are people like me who will get really obsessive-compulsive about it, and it'll just ruin my whole goddamn day. Lucky knows this pain.
Oh, I know this pain.
What's that? I put my stove 2 inches out of place? I need a new kitchen.
It's like, nope, I have to destroy the entire kitchen. And the house. And, fuck it, we're gonna rebuild it from scratch.
This is just that one joke from DBZA. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it doesn't bother me. It bothers me a lot. And that one's still green! But yeah, I'm having a blast, and I know it will occupy me through the front half of January. But we'll talk more about video games on What's Up, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, Mahoyo, good. People are buying it. Good. And also generally, like I said, Metacritic aside, from the people in our community who sprung for the digital version, most of them seem pretty well to like it. I've seen many memes of Aoko faces going around. She has many expressions in the video game. But so let's talk about our first impressions overall with the new Karna Lotto event. Like, do you want to start a little more, structurally or mechanically, or talk a little about story stuff?
It's story stuff. Like I said, mechanically, I don't think there's necessarily a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring up some of the stuff we've talked about, but we can cycle back to that. We'll wrap up with that. But yeah, so writing-wise, I am actually quite enjoying this event.
Yes.
They've done a really good thing with Santa Karna, where, the Karna is usually eminently straight-laced, right?
Yes.
That's his thing. He's a cool guy. He's pretty level. He's pretty straightforward. So putting him in the Santa slot where he's like trying his damnedest to figure out how to do Santa good, it's very nice. It kind of is a good change from Nightingale, who was just like, what is this Santa you speak of? I must deliver medicine to children for health. I am not Santa Claus. Karna's pretty snarky and sharp-tongued in Legends. Fate's Karna is as well, but he's usually more of the deadpan type. He does have some biting lines like in Extra and so on, but yeah, it's a little different. He's usually a lot more broy with us in FGO. Hey yo, Child Deluxe. Secret handshake. But just that opening intro of him trying to deliver presents and stuff and get used to it, and the reaction people have when Karna busts down their door. Nobody move! I'm giving you a present.
Osukabe Hime's is literally the best.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of really good work there. I like using Ashwataman to kind of give us context, because, he and Karna were, trained together, right? Mm-hmm. So, giving you some extra stuff and kind of showing off, like, what a less serious, more youthful Karna would be like. It's cool. So, yeah, we get a lot of that back and forth. That's pretty cool. And obviously, you guys know about the sprites and stuff, but I think Ritra's introduction is very good. She stands out immediately as having a very distinct character.
Casual, but formidable.
Yeah. She's really strong, so she can't really be fussed to beat us up and eat us immediately. She's gonna, marinate first. And I mentioned in my description that while there is some, in one I should say, there is some weird comparative mythology where, as opposed to like the figure of the Serpent of Chaos, very recurring myth, the Chaos Comp, the destruction of serpentine disasters by storm gods. Seriously, it happens a lot. I go through some of the list in the Wanted if you want to double check that. But some mythology scholars also compared Vritra to the winter giant kind of archetype, almost like in a similar slot to Ymir and stuff. Which I feel like, at first I thought that's what a lot of the Christmas in the Snow FGO was running with. But as we've gotten to later storylines, it's more that just like stuff is icy as a natural result of the fact that Vritra's powers are more just to quote-unquote freeze things rather than to literally freeze things, And, by the way, this is technically true. if you were to actually pause something to hold it in place, heat is not real, if you can follow me, chat. The concept of your internal temperature is mostly a measurement of how much internal energy your molecules have. So the reason why states of matter are different is because the molecules in them are more energetic, and so they spread out more. Gases tend to be warmer because all the molecules and atoms are bouncing around in them. So if you were to actually hold something still and make it so it can't move, that tends to make things lower energy states, lower temperatures. So it's kind of a weird metaphysical thing that works out. It just so happens that it makes everything cold and seasonal. Also, by the way, shout out to the art team in this event. Redrawing already used, classically used backgrounds, but all snowy. And then also when you finally defrost them, the fucking animated transitions.
I love the fact that they actually put the box lines in the very background.
Yeah, lots of subtle stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I was quite surprised by the first animated transition, and I think I've enjoyed it thoroughly every time it's happened. Gives me... It's not quite the same, but it reminds me of the great tree cleansings in Okami when you clear up an entire zone and everything goes back to being normal. It's yeah, this is nice. This is good. Oh yeah, there's a lot of icy animations and stuff that I'm quite surprised. There's also some camera angle tricks and stuff I've seen where, for an event that's 7 nodes, and maybe because it's only 7 nodes, they've put a lot of production value into every moment of it. And I think in general, also the writing is usually pretty good. Overall, the format for this event is really nice. The idea that you're getting these little micro teams every time, right?
Oh yeah.
So you get Santa Carna, obviously, because he's Santa Claus. And then, because we're facing a dragon, we get our number 1 Dragon Slayer, St. George, to be our other team commander, constantly wanting to take his photographs. And then we rotate another couple of characters in, which is usually pretty fun. We've had regular Arjuna stick along. There was a recent one where Arjuna Alter actually showed up and got to have a character. We've had Sigurd and Sieg. I assume at some point we'll get Siegfried, Also, yes, Axe in the Patreon chat brought this up. We also get a lot of dragon lore for once. It's come up before that some of our famous dragon slayers like Sigurd and Siegfried don't even remember their battle with their dragons, but George actually kind of explains it. True dragons in Fate are not conceptual weapons, but conceptual enemies. They are a force of nature, a physical embodiment of sins greed and wrath and stuff. That just happen to resemble, horrible monsters with all the features that humans are scared of. So when you're fighting a dragon, you are fighting a concept, which means that they talk about you can't really go into the details of it because you're going to be doing things that you don't want to talk about, or you're going to be doing things you don't even remember because you kind of have to fight the dragon with every part of your being. And I'm that's neat. It's also kind of a cop-out how we don't have to describe cool fight scenes, but also it's neat. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of back and forth. And as occasionally as a little bit of a darker tone as it can take, the inclusion of the enemies as well is usually pretty light scale. We have to fight Chiyome's shadow first, and it's just and then Kama shows up, and she's just Kama. I'm here to cause problems on purpose. And even the other guys are oh, is she being mind controlled? Karna's no, this is definitely the real Kama. This is 100% actually Kama. And the latest one was, actually, I don't know. People caught up with today's node, not tonight's
I
node,
am not.
Today's.
I'm
Okay,
not.
I won't ruin it for Lucky, but it's funny. A new one is just dropped. It is just time to log in FGO, everybody. Speaking of which, I don't think my will be going on for too much longer, but my phone is charged, so I will log in FGO and maybe do some stuff. No, I won't do a live reaction. That's too complicated. I need to read. Some of these are pretty text heavy, but all in all, it's very fun. The incident with the frozen beach and with Melt. Somebody finally calling her out that they're just penguins.
I mean, she called them penguin once. She called them penguin once back in Imaginary Scramble.
Yes, and then somebody tried to be "Hold on, did you say penguin?" No, Leviathans. Shut up. But this is good. There's a lot of good stuff here. I feel like there is something to the writing because of Ritra's role as the deity of obstacles, that she does kind of get away scot-free every time. She's just kind of "Mwahaha, I'll deal with you later. Bye."
Truly, mustache twirling villain.
It's very classical, yes. I think it works, but yeah, it makes sense. There's a lot of fun stuff there. It's overall very good. We get a lot of the the literal rotating format gives us new support characters to use in the fights, but also gives us new, characters to have this monologue with, Oh shit, today's present was a ticket.
Snaps.
Well, I think that does mean I will hit my second, extra 11th pull on the banner. Hey, go for it. Richard has a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, there's quite a few things going on. Overall, I'm having a positive disposition, like I said. The ticket was Imaginary Element, chat. I already have that MLD.
Oof.
She could be twirling her tail, that's true. But yeah, it's a good event overall. Anybody else got any non-spoilery but standout moments? And I will say, non-spoilery because, as I said before, to get into the mechanics a little bit, there is a little bit of an extra roadblock here. Not only is there a time gate, but also you have to catch up with the black presence to be caught up on the story. So there's a little extra grinding to be done. But if anybody else got anything else they really, really liked in the convo, consider. And if you don't, if you're listening to this later, drop them in the comments. Anything else really stick out for you, Lucky?
No, not right now. Like I said, the writing's good, but I don't think there's anything necessarily popping out at me right now.
Yeah. And maybe we'll see some more as we go on.
Yeah.
Overall, it seems like a pretty well-crafted event, but it is, a pretty standard time-gated lotto. So obviously with actual, event coverage, like I said, we're not both of us aren't very many boxes in. I'm in, the tail end of the 4th box right now. I'll probably get a few more under my belt by tonight, just because we will. I've bought all my CEs out from the shop. I don't have my drop CE, but again, I don't think I'm really going ham yet. I have developed a cruise control format, which is just I copy and pasted my QP format into the cast request. It's not the most ideal for drops, but I can 3-turn it no problem and fit all 4 of my drop CEs in it, so, it works. I mean, I can't... Hypothetically, I can do Musashi. The main problem is guaranteeing the NP gain, because it's weird. With my NP2 Lil Vinci and her level 10 Golden Rule, I can definitely double Castoria and ensure the loop every time. Going for 3 turns with regular Musashi is kind of hard.
Once I get Castoria's Bonzi, I think I'll be able to do something fun.
Probably. There's some extra juice there.
Well, yeah, I believe it's 10% attack and 10% more NP gain, which is usually enough to get me over, because usually when I miss it, it's always by a few percentage.
Yeah, so it's you either miss by a mile because your team comp is wrong, or well, I mean, I'm already, like I said, I literally just took my QP one and copy pasted it to my regular farming slot, so I could probably put Musashi where my Da Vinci is, but it currently it does not matter. Trying to make stuff work out with the drop C's is usually pretty okay, but like I said, I don't think I'm really going ham yet, because we don't have our highest difficulties. I'm not really trying too hard. I was just, cruise controlling for the presence anyway, for the most part. It was just as time got on, I was like, okay, I really want to make sure I'm getting my lotto clears to level up Karna and get the frickin' presents and stuff, because I want that last ticket. I need gongs for that. The gong ticket. But yeah, it's been alright. I feel like a lot of people are having this kind of experience of they don't want to settle in and farm yet, but the game kind of makes you farm a little bit.
Yeah. I've already spent all the silver apples that we got. That was 12, but I'm not really overly committed right now.
I have been spending a decent number of gold apples, but I am really full right now. I still have 600, because the game keeps giving us more. That number will probably go down both over the course of this lotto and over the course of, getting every possible scrap of St. Quartz to get ready for Muramasa, but yeah. Oh, yes, I can hit the plus under AP to check. Yeah, actually, I don't want to say how many gold apples I have. Chad will be very mad at me. I can tell you that I have almost 750 silver apples, but that's because that's my least used apple type, just because of how I play. It's usually gold apples or bronzes. But you don't want to know how many gold apples I got. I'll put a dent in that over the course of this, though. Well, that's because you're weird and wrong, Axe. I really can do a lot with daily XP.
That's really just...
Also, Axe, weren't you I don't have any servants to level, I'm full up on EXPs? I also have that issue. I don't have a lot of new servants. My Karna leveled up very rapidly just off a lot of XPs. I don't really need to go to the ground in half AP farming. I am trying to clear the lotto for more skill gems, because that's something I desperately need, but yeah, this is the issue of me rolling is very rarely do I go to the point where I'm fuck, I've got 9 new servants I have to level. No, I'm not usually that lucky. So my apples tend to dip and dive. I spend them mostly during story to speedrun and then during events like this one. And like I said, I will probably, while trying to slam jam free quests and shit for more Saint Courts, either when I've farmed as much out of this event as I want to, or after this event is over but New Year's haven't started, I will be doing that. So that will require some gold apple spends, probably, just because AP is ridiculous sometimes. But also, I know a lot of people in chat are. I am not the kind of guy who goes... mostly, I don't assume that I'm going to get the servant, so I don't usually pre-farm my mats, because I don't assume that I would get the servant, so I'm not pre-prepared. This probably means that other people will have spent quite a bit of extra AP making sure they have enough bones or whatever. Fucking bones.
I think the mustache is too big. It has to be more of a twizzly one.
Yeah, that or you have to... A decent attempt. If you added some thin it up a little and add some defined black lines there to make it a little more distinct, you got a lot there.
Make it like a little bit wider than Altera Santa mustache, so it's distinct. And yes, outline it in black.
Just steal Altera the Santa's mustache and then color correct it.
But
chance of that, Mr. Bones Wild Ride. But yeah, Lotto. I'm staring into the slight abyss of the mustachioed Richard right now. Put my phone down. But that does mean it is after reset. Oh, jeez, okay. What? I looked away and I looked back and I'm like, hour 40. All right, neato. Probably not gonna go too much longer, but yeah. Anything else to say about this event?
No, I don't think so.
I believe we'll be through all our time gates by next week, so we can probably give you, final thoughts, anything on story beats and characters and stuff, any other fun things. I know you guys want to know how many Lotto boxes we got. You'll tell us how many Lotto boxes you got. It's all part of the cycle. A cycle of Lotto boxes. But that's a wrap up on that one for now. I believe that the 16th, we should have wrapped up Fancy Friday. So let's go ahead and check up on that. So we should have... Oh yes, very dapper.
Oh no, that's pretty good.
Yeah. With about 50% of the votes, 18 votes total overall, and about 50% of them went to Vanagander, a.k.a. Fenrir. So that'll be this month's... I was going to say week, but that was wrong, and then I was going to say year, and that's also wrong. This month's Fanservant Friday, which will be sometime. We should have 2 more shows in, because there's 2 more Fridays in. I don't think I'm doing anything explicitly on the 30th. I might have to figure that one out. I'm pretty sure the 23rd, nobody's doing nothing. 23rd's nothing. But yeah, so get ready for that fun times. I called it Fanservant Friday, but it is almost Fanservant, somebody brought up in chat. It's almost Fanservant detective work, because technically Fenrir exists and is referred to at multiple points, but we have never given a complete picture. So this is a collage of my own research and then actually grabbing the pieces that we know of about Fenrir already and kind of stapling it all together and trying to build a cohesive whole out of it. So it'll be slightly different for Fanservant Friday profile. I hope you'll enjoy it. And it'll be on theme with our Monday stream, which is God of War Ragnarok. Watch God of War Ragnarok. Watch God of War Ragnarok. I'll do it a third time. Watch God of War Ragnarok. Every Monday. We're having a good time. Or you can just plug in your PS4, X. You don't need the PS5. It's better on PS5, but you don't need it.
It was simply designed to run on PS4s.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is the part where Act doesn't listen to us and sticks to his
guns.
Yeah.
I will say though, I can tell the parts where it's made up. It was made with at least some PS4 in mind. There's some zones that I'm like, oh yeah, this is for loading. This is to make sure we can load in the assets. Meanwhile, PS5, fuck your loading. I guess that's fair. If you know you're gonna get a PS5, you could wait for that anyway.
You can stick your PS4 disc into a PS5.
Does it actually do the proper new version then? It should.
Well, it probably doesn't do an upgrade. You probably still do a PS4 for the PS4 version.
It will run better though.
Yeah, because usually they remark about free upgrades and whatnot.
True. They got to keep track of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's still is cool. Anyway, we'll probably talk more about that and some other games of the PlayStation variety on What's Up. Yep. Go check that out as well.
The Miki event is continuing to stab people in the heart and put them on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds about right. During What's Up, Lucky will be playing a game.
I don't know what. I'm all of a sudden super fucking aware of Neo 2 ever since my
I'm going to say, you're self-conscious about your Neo 2 hours?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, your number one game this year is Neo 2. I only started playing that last year 200 hours. I'm like, okay. I really like this game.
Just hand clasp, okay. That's all right, chat. I don't. If you're questioning about that, I don't have any leg to stand on. My number one played game this year is somehow once again Cyberpunk 2077. I somehow got another 200 hours of that game. I thought it was like 100. No,
Like, it might be counting times you, like, maybe leave it on rest or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't leave my PS... Well, first of all, I don't even know if they got that bug fixed, so I don't put my PS5 in rest mode anyway, but usually
Omega isn't inspired replaying anything. He just genuinely enjoys Cyberpunk.
Yeah, no, I fucking love Cyberpunk. I play it too intensely. I start a new character, I go really, really ham for approximately 100 hours, and then I stop. I get burned out. And I'm gonna rack in another 5 million hours next year with Phantom Liberty, I'm sure.
Please come out next year.
Oh, it will come out next year. But also, please get some Game Award noms, then. Please. Throw fucking Cyber Idris on the best performance list.
Might.
My number 2 game is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. That shouldn't shock anybody. That takes me many, many hours to play and yell at, because the servers are laggy. I want to say almost like 50% of my extra time is just waiting for responses from the other person. It adds up over almost a year.
I believe that. That always gets me. I'm like, anytime I go to a bank or something, I see people, like, trying to do the simplest thing, and it takes them, like, 10 minutes. I'm just like,
I guess it depends on what they're doing. Like, there's times when my brain is just not firing on all cylinders and I can't do basic tasks. Again, see our Thursday stream, because we switcherooed for Final Fantasy XIV, where I was probably my sickest. That's probably I think I had a mild fever, and that was the night my fever broke, so that was when I was at my most demented. I was very bad a couple of times that night with trying to understand basic concepts, some of which were people talking to me, and some of which were just me trying to remember what buttons are. How do I play this game? It's fun. Somebody has a bad story.
Yeah. Also, Ax, we do play a wide coverage of games. We just don't talk about them all, usually. And also, on the games, we have to decide which one we're going to pick, because we're not made of infinite money.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting.
Let me finish my thought real quick here.
Sorry, you're not done.
Yeah, so when I do have to pick up a game, I want to bid something that I like. So, Ax, I'm going to tell you right now, keep your fucking mouth shut. No matter what you say right now, it's not going to make it better. So keep it shut.
Keep it together. We will be talking about our PlayStation year in review, I think, on What's Up, in the future. Look out for that, people. Give you a little tease for next time. Because I think it's interesting. And I tweeted about it, so you can get some spoilers there, but I'll discuss it. But, it's... Genuinely, for me, what happens is, and you guys can probably tell this because it's, happened a couple times, I get... when I'm into a game, I'm into a game. I'm sucked into it. I kind of hope, and I'm pretty sure, that Crisis Core is going to show up on that number for next year. Unfortunately, I only started playing it after the recap, but that's because that's a game that has lots and lots of shit for me to do, and I definitely want to talk about its more mobile game design. I think it's almost like the predecessor for how modern phone games are designed. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there that our audience will catch on to, me playing it what is it, fucking 10 years after the fact? More? When did Crisis Core come out? Christ. I almost don't want anybody to answer me on that one, but it's been several years, and now it's out on consoles, and it's a very interesting comparison to the two. The thing is, I usually get slurped into the game, so my big hours are the games that I was like, yeah, I like this game, I'm gonna play this game pretty fully, we can do some compare and contrast there, but a lot of it's just, repetitive hours, so... I play a wide variety of games. PlayStation also tracks how many different games I played. I believe that's up this year, along with hours played. So, there's a wide variety out there. The question is just what we talk about, which is we tend to focus on smaller things for our audience because either we want to talk about big things because that makes, search engine optimization pop, or just in general, it's easier when we know there's investment. Lucky's gone back to Final Fantasy XIV a lot of times for What's Up gameplay because it is a game that is kind of continuously open-ended by design. It is a game you can hypothetically play forever. And
actually, that's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm probably going to do 14 tomorrow.
Go for it. That, makes it easy to show off and talk about. And we even had this issue last week when Lucky tried to play Callisto Protocol. If you want to see some Callisto Protocol gameplay and some comments from us, Lucky played it for 2 or 3 of the hours we had, and eventually had to quit because it was requiring a lot of his focus to do, and it was harder to engage in the conversation, and also harder to stay, playing in the game as well. If you were doing the other way, if you were talking about a Game Award, you were probably getting your face murdered by space zombies. Mm-hmm. So it's just what is streamable and what is not is different. We got some plans for some different stream games throughout the year. We'll probably continue to talk about that coming up. But like I said, when I started this conversation, watch God of War. 2 streams out now. You can go check them out. It's fun. Okay, anyway, this was a conversation that really started about our Patreon poll. And got out of hand a little bit. But if you want to hear us just ramble about random topics, that's what What's Up is for.
Yeah.
So check that out. as much as I'd love to faff around so that the mission clock actually hits 2 hours, I know in the final edit it won't hit 2 hours. We're about an hour 50 right now to let everybody know where we're at raw time. But I should probably wrap this up so this video doesn't take, until 3 a.m. for me to render.
That'd be bad, okay?
Yeah. So we'll do our final clock out now. And, like I said, check out all those previous streams I mentioned if you feel like, the probably hour 45, hour and a half you get of us today isn't enough. I know a lot of people like to listen to us while they're grinding or on their commutes or whatever. We have lots of content out there you can track. We actually recorded an AP this week. It's out. It's up. I remembered to post it. After I told Lucky to remember to post it, I fucking forgot again because I was world building loudly. But I did post it, so that's another, 2.5 hours of us and the gang you can check out. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's a fun time. So, I will do our usual outro, unless chat gives me any last-minute reminders about, something I forgot. I don't think so. I don't think there's any crazy news.
No, I don't think so.
This is where somebody gets me in the last minute when they announced a new date for the Strange Fake thing, but I don't think they did. So, goes a little something like this, our usual outro. Give this video a like if you liked it. Feed the algorithm. Let people know you like this. You'll see more of this in your timelines. If you want to, you can leave a comment down below. We have several subjects you can comment on. What do you think about Part 3? What do you think about other stuff?
Let us know.
Will we get that Arjuna altar banner? Chat seems very convinced we'll get it. We'll see. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below. You can also join our Discord. Link is always in the video description and our channel page, where you can join the convo with all these lovely people and lots of other things going on. Got roll threads, got news threads, got all kinds of threads. Check them out. Got some VCs, got a lot of MVCs. They're voice channels. Of course, if you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel for more of this. Get more Let's Take FGO every week, get more Wanteds, get more other stuff. I heckin' winked to camera, even though the camera doesn't exist. I need to end this show. I'm fucking losing my mind.
He's losing it.
It's now 48 degrees outside.
Hey, we're below freezing now. It's 32 here.
Oof. But after all the subbing and Discord and whatever, remember to hit that bell for notifications. You always know when we post a new video or when we stream. It's a great way to keep track of us there. Get your notifications so you always know when we're going, especially if we're doing weird things like rescheduling and whatever. And you can also consider joining our channel memberships. Get access to membership badges and emotes and lots of other fun things. Membership badges and emotes are visible in comments, in community pages, and in live stream chat, so it's a great way to show off your support. And also, like I said at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to this episode early in audio format for as little as $1 a month, or approximately $10 a year. Year's almost over. It could be a great time to cash in. Just 10 little bucks, you get a whole year of us. And I get you $10. But at higher levels, you can vote in topic polls like the Fan Servant Friday. At even higher levels, you can listen to the show get recorded live every week. Join in that lovely patron chat we keep talking to. Our chorus of the Peanut Gallery. And lots of other goodies. And it does, really help us out and support us. And that, I think, has been that for this week's episode of Let's Talk FGO. But we'll be seeing you next week for more. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Have a good evening.